Everyone, and welcome back here to my YouTube channel, Kathy's Random Acts of Stampin'. Today we're going to be working with Spotlight on Nature. I love this set. It's very simple. The dies do not cut out any of this, but you do have these beautiful layering circles, and they're designer circles. I've played around with it and did a tone-on-tone card. Love the out, but I want to do it with more of a pop of color. So we're going to redo this card, same layout, just adding a little splash more of color. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to need is our card base, and I am going to use the white for my card base. So we're just going to cut a card, standard card, E2, which is 5.5 by 4.25. So I'm going to lay this in my trimmer on the 11-inch side, line it up to 5.5. So basically I'm cutting this piece of cardstock right down the middle in half. So this will be our card base. We'll score that in just a minute. We're also going to need a mat. And for this one, I wanted to do the pretty in pink. So I thought this would be very delicate. So again, I'm going to cut this in half at 5.5 on the 11-inch side, just like we did a while ago. But I'm going to turn it, and I'm also going to cut it at 4 inches. Hang on to this because we can use it. We're going to turn this one more time and cut it to 5 1/4. So when you finish, you have a mat that is 4 by 5 1/4. We're going to run that through an embossing folder. If you noticed on this card, I did an embossing folder on the back, and this one was the one called Cute Crochet. It didn't give me enough of depth. It's a beautiful folder, but I wanted something with a little more depth. So I thought this time I will grab the Dashing Designs. So we are going to take this piece and line it up inside of our folder, and we're going to emboss that. We're also going to use the other half of the white sheet that we had, and we're going to cut our circles. And these are the 3 circles that I chose. And they are 1 3/4, the smallest. The medium sized one is about 2 1/4. And then our largest one is about 3 1/4. So all I'm going to do is lay these down like this. I am going to use one of my little sticky notes to kind of hold everything in place. These little Post-it flags are wonderful for this. So let's go ahead and pull up our die cut machine, and we can emboss at the same time. So let's do our die cutting first. So I'm going to grab my number 1 plate, my number 2 thin die adapter plate, a beautiful cut plate that has been dedicated to cutting. You can see it's been cut in 2. And I have a dedicated cover plate that only goes on top. So let's lay this in, cover it with our cover plate, and we're going to crank that through. Now, if you're in the market for a die cut machine, I highly recommend this one. It's very simple to use, and it does the job the right way each and every time. So now I'm going to put that number 1 plate back in. And this is a 3D embossing folder. So what I want to do is make sure everything's lined up. Just like that. And then I'm going to lay this in. And I'm going to take my number 4 specialty plate. And these all come with your machine. I'm going to lay that over it and crank that through. Now, I think we have all of our cutting and embossing done and out of our way. So let's go ahead and put our plates up. Get our big boy out of the way. And now we can bring these over. And you can see there's some the little pieces in here. And I just usually flick those out. They come out really very easy. You get them all over and everything. But if you kind of rake them up in one pile, you can clean them off your desk pretty well. And the same way with your guys. I usually just drop them on my desk a few times and clean them out. So that's 2, and then we need the big one. And that is all of our die cutting. All right, so I have a little desk vac that works really good for getting these little pieces up. And I have that listed on my Amazon store. And it's basically just my little ladybug, but it is a great vacuum. And let me show you how this works. It just picks up all of those pieces and you have nothing left in the desk. Isn't that great? And it just runs on like a AA battery. All right, so now we have our circles. We have our embossed piece of cardstock, and we have our card base. So let's go ahead and score this card base. With that, I'm going to bring up my scoreboard, lay that in, and score it at 4 1/4. Give that a good press. And we'll get our bone folder out because I really like to press these down. Let's see, here it is. So now we're ready to lay this piece, and you can decide which side you want up, your embossed or your debossed. I think I like that one. So all we're going to do is just lay that down. Let's do some stamping. So my big circle, I'm going to do the flowers from the Spotlight on Nature. And that's this one right here. And I want to just do a portion of it. So I'm only going to ink it to about here because I just want to fill up my circle. And since I'm going to be using alcohol blends for alcohol blend Stampin' Blend markers, I'm going to use Memento ink because I can color with my alcohol markers without the smudging. Make sure I'm inked up really good. And then I'm just going to bring this in and set it down about like this. I'm going to give it a good press. Let that ink have time to transfer to my paper. And left. So pretty. Isn't that gorgeous? So now we can lay this over here. The next thing I want to stamp is my butterfly. So I'm going to ink him up. And that will be on that middle circle. And all we're going to do is just put him right in the center and stamp. Again, I'm giving it time enough for that ink to transfer. Beautiful butterfly. And then the last thing I want to do is out of that same stamp, you can see we're getting everything out of this same stamp. I want to do the thanks. You could do and make this a happy birthday. You could make it any type of card that you want. But we're just going to stick with the thanks for right now because you would have to find something that will fit in this small circle. And this does. So we're going to stamp that right like that. Oh, so pretty. All right, so now we're done with our ink. Let's do a little coloring. So for this one, I have my Pretty in Pink. I have an Old Olive for my leaves. And I brought out my my color lifter in case I make a boo-boo, because you just never know. All right, I'm going to start out with my light Pretty in Pink. And all I'm going to do is just make strokes of color on the petals. When you're coloring with the brush tips, you don't want to be heavy-handed. You want to put down just a little color. So you don't have to press hard. You don't want to damage the tip of your marker. And a little bit right there. If you're new at alcohol coloring and you feel more comfortable using the bullet tip, by all means do that. This one little petal right here. I'm going to come in with my dark. And see, I did do a little boo-boo right there. So I color bled outside that. So that will lift that off. All right, this is my light. I need the dark. And all I'm going to do is just some little wispies where those lines are at. Across the bottom. Where the color is just a little richer. And the same thing here. Then you can go back with your light, pretty and pink, and just blend everything. Something like that. And I'm going to come in with my light old olive. And just put some color down on those leaves. Then we have that little stem. And I want to put a little bit of color on the stem. So I'm going to go to that bullet tip. And I'm just going to trace up that stem. Like that. And a little bit on this one. And then that one is done. So now let's do our pretty in pink on our butterfly. So again, I'm going to go in with the light. And then we're going to come in with the dark. Cap back on. And I'm going to come back and just blend with the light. There is our cute little butterfly. So you can see this card comes together really super quick. So now all we need to do is go ahead and put our mat, our front mat down. I'm just going to use some regular glue. Always check to make sure my card's opening on the right side. Give that a press. Now we're going to do our focal points. I do need that color lifter just a little bit more. Right there. So we're going to put this down right about here. This is going to go down like that. And then we're going to have our little thing. So I'm going to turn this just a hair. Maybe like that. And then this is going to go right here. And we're going to pop all this up on dimensions. Look at the difference, the tone on tone versus the using the pink. It does give you a different look. Both are beautiful, I think, but it gives you a totally different look. And just think, you could do so many of these in different colors. I love it. So the first thing I want to do is put dimensionals on the back of this. This particular stamp and die set has so many different uses. When I cut the first one, I cut it too big and I had to recut it. And look at this beautiful frame that I got that I can use on another card. That would be pretty like this, and then stamp your flowers on the middle of it. If you didn't emboss, you could do that and then frame your flowers. So many different things you can do with this set. It's a very versatile bundle. So I'm going to go ahead and take off my dimensionals. You don't have to think about where you're putting your dimensionals on this first one, but then after that, you're going to need to think about it, and I'll show you what I mean. We're going to turn this about like that. And then this one is going to go here, but you can see you're going to need glue here and dimensionals back here. So I want dimensionals on that side of my butterfly. And we're going to do about 3. And we're going to put a little bit of glue on that side. Pull off my backers. And then we can set this down. Oops, I got a little, the pieces hadn't come out, so I'm glad I caught that. You can put this one right here. Very pretty. And now this one, I just need some dimensionals over on this side. And I think only 2. I think that'll be sufficient. And some glue up here. Get those off. And now I'm going to set this right about here. Isn't that gorgeous? And I think to decorate this one, I'm going to actually bring it up just a little bit. I am thinking the iridescent pearls will be beautiful on that. I love these. These are, you can see that they've been one of my favorites. I've used quite a few of them. So I'm going to get my Take Your Pick tool. And I'm going to pick up one right there. One here. And one right there. Now you could also kind of jazz this up if you wanted to do a bow. Let's see what I have in. I have the pretty in pink ribbon, but I don't know. I haven't worked with this ribbon, so I'm not sure if it's going to tie like I want it to. I'll tell you what, we're going to find out. Go ahead and open it. I think I'm just going to do a little knot bow. So I'm going to cut a length. Then I'm just going to tie simple. Knot bow like this. Let me grab my ribbon scissors. We can put that right there. I think that will add a little something extra to it and kind of bring it up. So again, the glue dot right on the knot of the bow. And stick it right there. Isn't that pretty? Now the only thing we need to do is grab a piece of pink. We're going to cut this one down to 4 or 5 1/4. And then we need a piece of white. I'm looking for scrap. We need this to be 3 3/4 by 5. So I'm going to cut the 5 off first. Three and 3/4. Then we are going to mat this on top of that. But let's see if we have a sentiment. And I think I'm going to use I still have my charming duck out and pawned out from where we made this little card the other day. So I think I'm going to use the one that says, you make me happy. I think that'd be cute. I'll put that right about there. For this, I'm going to do it in black, but I think I'm going to use my Versaphone because I love the way it stamps, especially sentiments. Love that. And then in the stamp, you have that little hashtag type symbol. And I'm going to take it and I want to grab my pretty pink. Just going to ink it up and I'm going to go just to give it a little bit of, I even do a little bit more right here. Maybe right here. I love that. I think it just gives a little bit more emphasis to your card. So let's close up our ink pad. And let's go ahead and glue this onto our mat. And then we can open our card and lay this in. I think I'm just going to use a little Stampin' Seal on this. And then all we have to do is set this in, press it, And we have a beautiful, beautiful card that I think anyone would be tickled to have. So you'll have to let me know which is your favorite. Do you like the one that is tone on tone, or do you like the one that has more of a pop of color? I think they're both beautiful in their own right, and we could put a bow. I'm looking to see if I have any. I do have a boho blue. Um, I need to clean my ribbon drawer out because I don't know which ones are retired and which ones are still current. Um, I think if I was going to do anything on this one, this was online. It's the white glitter ribbon. That would be very pretty on there, and it would give a little pop of color. So let's go ahead and do it. Put our ribbon on it as well. I love this ribbon. I thought it was so pretty when it came out, and I still love it. There's a nut bow. They're so easy to make. So if you're not good at tying bows, you can always do a little knot bow. And they work beautifully on so many different projects. And we can put that down right there. And with my trusty little glue dot, and that just dresses that up a little bit. We don't want our tail hanging down that far, so let's just clip it. And there we go. I love the way these turned out. I think they're gorgeous and very simple card. If you need to throw something together in a hurry, this would definitely be the ticket. And they're very pretty. So God bless and keep you. Thank you so much for tuning in today. So I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven. He is so worthy. If by chance you need any of the products that you saw me use today, I would be honored if you would choose me as your demonstrator. All the ordering information will be below this video. You can go to my Stampin' Up! Website and place your order. If you need help, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I am here for you. And again, thanks so much for tuning in. Bye-bye.